And with a yo-ho-ho, it's TaleOfTheToaster. Welcome to another Inazuma 11 Ares thoughts and reviews. In this episode, we're going to be taking on, I say we, I'm not doing anything, Raimon from the show are going to be taking on Anima Sana in their next match after we had that little break with Kirkwood and Polestar playing instead. Mr. Yi is in jail, just to make things a little tougher for us. The coach is just behind bars. It's very funny seeing him get dragged away in the middle of a talk for accessing data illegally is the reason that we're given. So the coach is just in jail, but it kind of works somehow anyway, because when he gets dragged away into prison, he does this like backflip thing off the wall, nicks the guard's phone. Do I have a phone? Apparently. To pretend my 3DS is a phone, he just slips it out of the pocket and goes into his jail cell and starts texting the team via the 11 bands. Apparently this is kind of Anima Sana's specialty. They are a data-based team. Have we seen these guys before? I'm not sure about that one. Yeah, the fact that Mr. Yi's in prison, it just paints more of a question of, do we actually trust this guy? Like, he keeps having these shots where he's like really dimly lit, like all the negative shading, and he's not expressed a huge understanding of football yet. He seems to have a plan in mind with everything he does, but it's like, what are you thinking at this point? Do you trust Mr. Yi? I'm not sure I remember what I could make of him, but the fact that he's been chucked in prison was still hilarious. I love that they did that. Nevertheless, before he goes, he gets to announce that we're going to use the emergency tactic. Various special tactics are named throughout this episode, most of them without purpose. But the emergency tactic relies on Sandra Fisher, our goalkeeper, and that's good because you need a good goalkeeper when you're on an Inazuma team. And despite us being 8 episodes in now, Sandra's not really done anything yet, and it's been a while. Granted, we've not had that many Raimon matches in general, but yeah, it's definitely time for our goalkeeper to power up a bit. While the other candidate is actually going to be Kiko Calavento, and I'm loving it when I see this, because I can't remember if I mentioned in the early episodes, but all the way back in episode 1, I looked at the designs of each Raimon player. I knew nothing about their personalities, names, moves, positions, anything. I just looked at all the members, I saw them before me, and I said, that guy's going to be my favourite. I just love the little flat cap, and man, I wish I still had a flat cap that I could wear in this episode to celebrate it. But yeah, just on design alone, I decided that guy's going to be my favourite member of the team. And now episode 8 is where we get to see him do something as part of the emergency tactic. Or should I say the takedown tactic? I think one's a description and the other's the actual name. But within seconds, Basil has opened up with a fire tornado, and it's like, oh, wow, okay, we're really going for it. But the goalkeeper, Gideon Poe is his name, he blocks it with Shot Pocket. And it's at this point I realise, wait, hang on. Anima Sana, so this is a new school, right? Wait a minute, doesn't that look like Jonathan Seller from Brainwashing Jr High? Didn't they also just do Shot Pocket, the signature move of Thomas Felt from Brainwashing? Yeah, this is Brainwashing Jr High. They've just got a new name because, well, they're not being brainwashed anymore, so why would you want to call your school Brainwashing Jr High? I have to imagine they were called Anima Sana all along, and they just temporarily adopted the brainwashing title. But actually in Japanese, there is no change in name. They're not going from brainwashing to Anima Sana. They just always were and are Mikage Sennou, I believe their name is, off the top of my head. So yeah, this is the exact same team, just 1 year later. I think Thomas Felt's already graduated, or he's gone to Dark Emperor's Junior High, or whatever it is. So we get to see how this early game team, who were mainly based on the gimmick of brainwashing headset powers, can actually perform as a school in their own right. How well will they do? Well, that remains to be seen. For the time being, they've blocked the shot with Shot Pocket, and then Seishou was like, oh no, we've left ourselves wide open, in a very sarcastic remark. Yes, of course, this is all according to plan, the plan of Mr. Yi, who was just still texting these guys from within jail. I think the most unbelievable thing is the ball is flying over Kiko's head, and at that exact moment, Mr. Yi's like, "Okay, you can do the thing now." And it's like, you timed that to the second. You're in jail, you're not even watching the match. How are you doing this? But Kiko just goes along with it. He's like, "Oh, I should do that thing now." And we get the first little flashback in this match. So just like Valentine and Cliff, poor old Kiko also got manipulated into doing some chores, and you just feel even worse for him, because he's got to clean all the floors of the entire school, and just right in front of him, Mr. Yi's assistant just chucks paint on the floor that he just cleaned. It's like, oh, I can't deal with this. This is too much for my boy Kiko. I like this guy. And how would you even have the motivation to clean the floor after someone's just spilled paint on it right in front of you? But he just clings on to the belief that it's useful, and well, eventually, after much grinding and even naming his towels Wishy and Washy, yes, he develops this cleaning tactic where he's like gliding along the floor, riding the towel, and he cleans up the whole gym and makes it look all sparkly. And I'm happy for this guy that he's developed a new technique, and I can't wait to see how it translates into a special move. I kind of wish it didn't. So the cleaning was all really graceful, the way you'd slide around the floor, and maybe even, you know, the move didn't have to be about cleaning. You know, Cliff, when he was cleaning the wall, it turned into the wall, not cleaning the shot. Valentine, you know, he wasn't about turning the hose into a move. He turned it into his little ice long pass. But, you know, I wanted Kiko to have some kind of relation to what he was actually doing, but no. His special move is called Twister Trap. So he does a teensy little slide on the floor, hands in the air. Here's generic tornado number 10. And yeah, as a defensive move, he just summons a tornado and it intercepts the ball. And this is just the least original Inazuma 11 move that I can imagine. Like, it's Cyclone from season 1, but now it's called Twister Trap, and it belongs to Kiko with some very vague relevance to a cleaning technique. It doesn't even have that. It literally just summons a tornado, and yeah, that's it. I was so ready for my favourite character, as I had decided from day one, to get his special move, and it was boring. Absolute E-tier special move. I was very disappointed with this. But hey, he blocked the ball, he got it to Sunny, and they actually score the first goal of the match, so that's something. At that point, Mr. Yi finally gets his phone nicked. Yes, that should have been noticeable quite a while sooner. Something I forgot to mention before. What is the meaning of Anima Sana? Because I just thought, are they like anime when I first heard it? But no, Anima Sana is actually Latin for healthy heart or healthy soul, so the total opposite of brainwashing. It shows how far they've come. How far can they come in the actual match? Well, it is their time to attack. And Sunny, with Mr. Yi absent, he decides it's time for the do or die tactic. And what is the do or die tactic? Well, who knows, because it cuts to the break. Basically, it's time for another flashback, because Sandra is gonna reveal her role in the emergency tactic. We actually see Kiko directly jealous of this, but Sandra, for the first time, has actually been assigned by Mr. Yi to do football training. Such a basic thing to ask, but yes, she's going to be doing the classic goalkeeper tire training. I think it is really cool as well, by the way, that she actually is a goalkeeper at all, because if you think about the female players that they've had on Raimon before, there haven't been many. There was Tori, who was kind of a defensive midfielder in Season 2. They had Sue Hartland, who was a forward, but very much one that was off to the side. The focus was always on Sean or Axel, and she was just there if they needed another forward, and no one liked her anyway, which was a shame, because I think she's one of the most underrated Inazuma characters in history. But that's a bit of a scorching hot take. And then, yeah, Season 3 and Go 1, you had no girls on the team, nor did you in Season 1, so the only other one we got was Goldie in Chrono Stones, who was a very, very important member of the team, but still a defender. They've never really got to play the most critical position, but Ares just says no to all of that. Sandra's the only girl on the team yet again, but she's going to be the goalkeeper, and that is massive responsibility. I mean, we've had the main character there before, and she's the reason why matches could be won or lost, and hopefully in this episode she's going to be the reason that they are won. For now, she's obviously struggling with the tyre training, but eventually gets a text message from her mum, and we get what's a flashback within a flashback. We're still in the 3 days ago flashback, but now she also gets the text from her mum to remind her of times that she went diving for seashells and such. And then I'm like, that's why she's called Sandra. She lives by the beach. That should have been obvious. But what it basically sets up is she's possibly going to be the first goalkeeper in Inazuma history, at least on the protagonist team, to have a proper theme going. Because if you think about it, Mark Evans, he's just getting moves from his granddad. They're often involving hands, but it's not much of a theme. Then Darren LeChance, much as I love him, his theme is ripping Mark off and doing the same moves again. And then you go to the Go trilogy. Sam, some of them are kind of traditional Japanese stuff, but they're mostly just hands again. And even the character himself, he barely has much of a theme. So, and then finally JP, he only ever has his fighting spirit and jumping whack. He's got a theme with his names going on, but the actual visuals of the moves, it's mainly just jumping that he then has to leave behind for stuff like Mars in the Hand and Song of the Three Kingdoms. So basically, we've never had a protagonist goalkeeper with a theme before. And Sandra's is a pretty basic one. It's going to be water, but at least it is one. And yes, she has mastered a new move, Splash Guard! And it's cool. Like, yeah, it's got a little blue god hand in there if you look close enough, but there's enough fancy stuff going on for me to like it. Just prepare to see it a lot, because yes, our goalkeeper finally has a special move now, so there's never a choice. They always have to come up quite a lot. But Sandra does stop the ball, which is brilliant of her, and then passes it up the field, and Basil sinks it with a foot. So things have gone relatively according to plan. The only real surprise is that we're actually 2-0 up, and Anima Sana hasn't scored yet. Like, we're well in the lead at this point. But otherwise, yes, we were expecting Kiko and Sandra to get some special moves now, and they got them. What wasn't foreshadowed is Sonny Wright actually getting his first special move as well, which he gets with a really, really flashy move called, well, call it a pun, I guess, but Flash Dash is the move that he's going to get. And this excited me a lot because Sonny is a forward, the first forward protagonist we've had, and it seems like the move is actually a defensive one, because the ball is in possession of Anima Sana, then Sonny kind of jumps up into the air, does this really cool pose as he takes the ball with Flash Dash. Sonny, I've not got much to say about him as a character yet, but his poses are excellent. I love the finger guns, I love the Flash Dash pose, which again I can't do here because I can't turn upside down on my chair. But yeah, Flash Dash comes out of nowhere and it's so cool. The only disappointing thing is that while it's used as a blocking move here, it is actually a midfielding move in reality, and that's how it's going to be most of the time. So that was a bit of a fake out. You know, I love my defensive special moves, and that was a bit of a fake out, but hey, unexpected third move on Sonny, and then they just go to town. Like, Brainwashing clearly needed their brainwashing abilities because Raimon end up winning 4-0. Anima Sana doesn't score at all, and Raimon say, bugger your usual 3-2 Inazuma scores. We are throwing the rulebook out the window, and we're going to win 4-0, even without Mr. Yi getting involved with the instructions anymore. They just take it to town when they're only in their third lifetime match, but Raimon has clearly come a long way, and I love giving them an absolute walkover match against a comparatively weaker team, because they're always the underdog in these stories, and I love that change of pace. It's also interesting to note that one of the goals was actually from Adriano. That was his first goal of the season, and we will be calling back to that point later on. You'll find out why. But yeah, the captain of Anima Sana, he just leaves out one little salty remark. Sir, tactics like that will never let you beat Royal Academy, which is your first little mention that somehow they're already aware that we're going to be playing Royal next. Sonny's a bit sad, but then Jude Sharp comes out of nowhere and says, Royal are even better than Polestar, you need to train hard. And Sonny's like, okay. Oh my god, I talked to Jude Sharp. It's just the most real reminder that yes, this is Raimon and they have just dominated a team 4-0, but they're still new to this. They're enthralled by the celebrities as they are of the football frontier, and Sonny's just enamoured to have talked to him. So I think that's a brilliant little reminder of, yes, they're getting better, but they're still new. We get a little scene with Elliot Ember. He goes to visit Faith in hospital again, and it's just heart-wrenching because he comes in with this bear mug. I would usually have a mug in this room. I'm quite disappointed in my prop game here. But yeah, he goes to deliver some more bear-themed merchandise to Faith, and then notices, where is Scorbunny? And by Scorbunny, you know, I mean the actual bear plush. Just this prop is getting way more use than I ever expected. But yeah, it's not here. Sorry. I'm so cruel to this thing. But yeah, you don't even get to see Elliot's reaction, but you feel that reaction for him. He notices, he goes to put the mug next to the bear and it's just not there, and that's sad because it reminds me of how nasty Heath was pushing it aside. Meanwhile, we then get to see Heath. He's just eating ice cream with Dusk at some place called Thunder Ice Cream. I think it's a bit of a mistranslation, to be honest, because obviously Inazuma is Japanese for lightning. It's probably meant to be Inazuma ice cream, but no, it's Thunder Ice Cream. And he just gives Dusk this massive 4-stacker of ice cream that he can barely support, just so that he can drop in a little monologue about how one of the 4 chunks of ice cream is habanero flavour. We don't even see Dusk eat it, but he points out the one spicy thing in the ice cream, just to compare it to Caleb Stonewall, who is confirmed to be joining Royal Academy for the next match. I love Caleb Stonewall, so I'm really pleased and excited to see what he will be doing in this season. I wouldn't be buying ice cream just to talk about him though. But we cut to Royal Academy and we actually get to see Caleb Stonewall walking in there, being his usual self, just talking up the odds. We see Samford is now the captain in Jude Sharp's absence, so that's pretty good. King gets a little line. Gus Martin is just there in the background with his usual, I don't know what face I just pulled, but I dread to see that in editing. But yeah, he's just wide-eyed smiling as he always does. And then Ray Dark appears. Didn't he get arrested for like attempted murder? How is he out of prison? They don't really explain it at all. There is a little bit more backstory. Before the actual Aries season, again, I've mentioned before that they ran little shorts called Inazuma Outer Code as previews for the upcoming Aries season, and this is where we first see that Ray Dark has been released from prison. Still no explanation on how he got out just a few months after he was arrested and is now allowed back into Royal Academy after, by the way, he ditched them to work with Zeus. Yes, he will be working with Royal this time. And Nathan Swift is also part of Royal Academy as the kind of ambassador guy. Again, this isn't explained either in the episode. They kind of just assume that you watched Outer Code to discover that one, which I did, but I haven't covered it in the reviews, so I can't expect you all to know it. But yeah, I do recommend watching Outer Code because we get to see Nathan walk in and the first proper debut of Caleb Stonewall. There's even another new introduced character here, just some extra guy, but we'll worry about him next time. And at this point, the match with Anima Sana is just a distant memory. That was ages ago. We're already seeing Raimon doing intensive training for the match against Royal Academy, and they just look completely beat. But we will leave it there because the next match will be against Royal Academy, and that is an exciting prospect for something that's not even 10 episodes into the season. This is so soon to take on Royal Academy, but I'm excited for it. Looking forward to meeting you, Caleb. So this has been it for my episode thoughts. I loved just having an entire match in half an episode. because the match is going to be so dragged out. But this one was short and unconventional, 4-0, and it had good story afterwards. So great episode. This has been Tale of the Toaster, and we will see you in another episode. Splash God!